What's a good topic to cold open with?
My cold, wet feet on Derek's flow.
Yeah,
Because it's soggy in here.
it is soggy. I mean, there's like a
Not so much in here, not right now.
outside of your garage.
Outside,
there's
very
like
soggy.
a small lake.
Yeah, it
Ankle
does that.
deep.
Yeah,
God, I hope not.
Surprise.
Yeah, well, see, that's why I don't. That's why I mean, I guarantee you that comes in under the subfloor out there in the garage because somebody decided to make that a room, and it's just all kinds of chaos.
all kinds of sopping wet chaos.
Yep. Luckily, it doesn't seem like my floor is ready to flood though. So
Well, that's good.
yeah, and at least not in here.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Uncommon Nonsense,
Ba-da-boom,
the podcast that we're ankle deep in rainwater.
ba-da-boom.
It's a soggy, rainy spring day here we're back at Derek's.
Yeah,
the
it's
last
warm as
couple
crap
episodes.
outside too,
Yeah,
but it's awful.
they said it's gonna be awful all day. So, but
Fun.
Until this weekend when we work.
nice
Yeah.
working in the
I
sop.
hate it.
But yeah, the last couple episodes, we're at the what I've dubbed the official Uncommon Nonsense Studios, which is my basement. But
Ooh.
we've taken the venture back to Derek's. It's been a while.
Yep. Yeah.
The last
A different studio,
yeah
but a studio nonetheless.
we can say it now, right?
Yeah,
this
we
is,
can
This
say
is
it.
Armor Class Studios.
Yeah, Armor Class Studios.
So
What's
if
up? It's actually more like Macaulay Studios,
yeah,
but
this is where the Armor Class
prioritizing Armor
happens.
Class right
Yeah.
now.
It's a great setup.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. We're sitting in a very well lit room.
It's not
Looking
super
ready to-
well lit right now, but
I mean, I got
it's got French doors in the back.
yeah, and it's pouring with some gray,
Mm-hmm.
muggy outdoor light, and I'm looking into Derek's beautiful brown eyes.
They probably glistening right now.
They're glistening.
Yeah.
They're shining. I'm getting lost. It's like a pool of caramel.
Pool of caramel.
Back on the pod, we have, of course, Derek, the wonderful,
Hello.
the beautiful, the
It's
amazing
good to see you guys
Derek.
again. I can see
And-
through the sound waves.
Yeah, good to hear you.
Yeah.
Well, we can't hear them. They can hear us.
No.
I can
Yeah.
hear you. If you leave a comment, I can hear you, and then I'll read it. So do that.
Exactly.
But we also have the coveted, the highly sought after. Some might say the highly elusive, depending
Sure
on
is.
depending on when you're trying to get a hold of him. The bullfrog.
Boom, boom, boom.
Ribbit.
Oh,
Ribbit.
that sweet, sultry voice.
Hey, what's up, my guys?
What's up?
Like, comment, subscribe.
All the
Hey,
content
everybody.
things.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Minecraft Let's Play episode 29, and we're gonna talk about the Ender Dragon.
Yeah, all those cringy things that you need to do the subscribes and likes, do those things. Whatever tickles your fancy.
Right.
Yeah.
Engage.
Just think about my cold, bare feet
Oh,
on the ground.
Would
Yeah,
you
they
would you
are
like
cold and-
socks? I
No.
can get you more socks.
his
No.
socks got soaked by the rain.
It's setting a mood for me, and I'm trying to embrace it.
All right. That
We got a-
barefoot life.
We got a special Jeremiah today. It's a wonderful, cold, wet-footed.
life.
Yeah.
Basically a Christmas movie.
Hey,
It's-
Derek,
Yeah.
just a little sidebar. And I wanted this to be on air
Yeah.
because it would be funnier this way.
Okay.
I've been calling your recording studio the round table of shame
Oh.
All right.
because it's a little round table. And if I ever feel frisky, it's going to be real easy to play footsie with anybody.
Yes. Yes, it will.
Yeah. Well,
But is that shameful?
It can be.
It can be.
And it probably will.
All right.
Just a heads up.
I'm down for a little shame.
I recently had a similar problem. The last episode, that as of this going up, it was the last one I recorded, and it's the last one that you will have listened to at home. But was with our friend Austin. He made the trip to the studio, aka my basement, and we did a wonderful episode. I had some technical difficulties, which we'll talk about because I got very annoyed about it. But the setup I was using was a like TV stand. I don't know what it was, like a black table. You guys know what I'm talking about. I was using it as a TV stand, but it was like I think it was a writing desk, but it was like
Okay.
thin and black, and it was in our living room for a little bit.
Okay.
But we got a new TV stand. We didn't need that for the TV anymore, so we took that downstairs, and I was using that for a little bit, with a microphone on it, and that's how we like recorded our episode. We both sat on like opposing ends of this writing desk, with a microphone in the middle, and we were just bumping knees the entire. Because you guys know, like the viewers do not, but for your information, Austin's a pretty big guy.
Austin is massive.
He's tall.
Yeah,
he's like the gentle giant. He's like the jolly green giant, but not green.
He's 6'4".
6'4",
Yeah.
6'5", something.
He's
like
a big
that.
guy.
He's
so we were
huge.
just knocking kneecaps the whole time. And it was funny, though, because at one point I dropped my vape, and I went to pick it up, and I, like, wasn't looking, because I was, like, I think I was trying to make sure I wasn't knocking the microphone over. No, I wasn't. My headphones were plugged in, because the microphone I was using, it plugs directly into the bottom of the microphone. So I was making sure I didn't pull my headphones out. And I, like, reached under the table to grab my vape, and I just grabbed his foot, like full send, grabbed his foot, and I was like, "Hey, oh."
But
sorry.
did you pull a foot scan?
I pulled on it, yeah.
Just a little tug.
But it was wild. We were sitting really close to each other,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Have you ever been that close to Austin?
"No."
No.
I mean,
You walked away.
we went
closer
to a
than-
hockey game,
Yeah.
and we sat pretty close to each other because, like, stadium seats, you're pretty close to the person
Right.
next to you. We're shoulder to shoulder. But being shoulder to shoulder with somebody is a lot different than, like, your knees touching and being
Yes.
eye to eye as you're having a conversation. Because, like, I'm talking to him and trying
It's
to look
so
into his
personal.
eyes.
It's so
But
personal.
It was so personal.
That's hilarious.
But I think we got a good episode out of
Yeah.
it. And he did a great job. I mean, that was the first time I've had him on my show. We've had
Right.
him, obviously, he plays Horace on Armor Class, which he
Right.
does a great job in that. But it was the first
especially
time I
now
kinda
that we got
those
the mic
skills
arms
online.
and he can save his back.
Right, and not have to hunch over.
I'd just rather you not grab my foot when you drop your vape.
Well,
No,
I don't
know
have to
you
drop
have
my
a-
vape to grab your foot.
Oh,
It's not. It's
Well.
But
it's
now he's
exposed
barefoot,
right
so
now
he really
too. Yeah.
does not want you.
Exactly. It's
Don't touch
ripe
me.
for the grabbing.
I don't like being touched in general, get alone my bare naked feet.
Right.
Fair.
I feel vulnerable.
Exposed.
But yeah, so before Austin ended up showing up for that recording, my audio interface decided that it just didn't want to work. I had tried to use it the night before, because you had given me a previous recording that we did here
Yeah.
that I was trying to work on a little bit, and it just wasn't playing any sound at all. And I did
That
the
sucks, my
classic.
guy.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's really awful.
I did the classic, like, where you spend hours on Reddit and shit, like, looking at forums and people asking, like, all these, what, I couldn't figure out anything. I changed
Troubleshooting
out every
dive.
cable. I did everything.
Yeah.
And it's just not working. So I am making some changes currently to the studio to accommodate a little bit of a better setup. So going forward, if the audio sounds slightly different, that's why. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But
Great.
here we're on the classic. We've been using these mics since
we
the
started.
start. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're nice little mics.
Yeah.
Jeremiah has his all tricked out. I'll take a picture before we leave and I'll put it on the screen if that's okay with you, Jeremiah. Of your beautiful. This cactus sticker just fills me with joy every time I see it.
It's a good complimentary thing.
It's wonderful.
I think
Yeah.
my sadness with the cactus happiness makes everything a little bit better.
It does. And because, the world is filled with all this bullshit going on right now, especially, my technical difficulties that got me down the other day, and Jeremiah has had a rough go of it today.
Yeah.
having
And
to do
just
some stuff.
everything that China's doing right now.
Everything. So,
We don't need to talk about that, do we?
Yeah, no.
No.
I want to
cool.
talk about fun things. I want to talk
Yeah.
about things because if you are a, long-term listener of the show, this is episode 14, so not that long-term.
Ooh.
But if you've been listening for a while, you will know we have the returning cast of the original first episode.
Yes.
This was it. We
This is
sat at
true.
your table, us three,
Yep.
and recorded what I named Chess and
Am I-
Cheeseweed.
Am I still the most tenured guest on Uncommon Nonsense?
I would have to count because it's either you or it's Emily at this
Yeah.
point, but you're both on it a lot. But Emily more so now that we set up the studio at home.
Right.
But
You also live together,
Yeah.
so it's
Exactly,
a little
yeah.
easier to
and
set up.
I can poke her in the side and be like, "Come get on this microphone." Whereas I
Yeah.
can't really just show up at Derek's and be like, "Hop on this microphone for an hour." Unlike
Hopping on.
that is kind of what we did today, though. Me and Jeremiah just kind of showed up at my house, and he was like, "Do you need groceries, or do you need, Because I think I've said it before. I don't drive for personal reasons, but you were like, "Oh, do you need me to take you anywhere?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, can you take me to Derek's? I need to go get something from Derek's." And we showed up, and we're both friends, so he came to the door with me, and we just kind of came in and started socializing. And I sat down at the table, put my headphones on, and I said, "Everyone, sit down. It's podcast time."
That's exactly how it happened.
I recall that entire thing.
Yep.
It definitely
100%.
wasn't different in my mind.
Nope.
Jeremiah did
Definitely
let
wasn't
out
something we talked about for 4 days.
a solid 15-second sigh before he sat down, but he did do it.
I do that every time I sit down.
Yep.
It's my bad knees.
I appreciate Derek. I appreciate you letting me take over your studio for a
Yeah.
moment.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. That's a word.
Absolutely
Positively narcoleptic.
narcoleptic. I want to talk about looking back, right?
All
Because we
right.
look back at the first episode. It was us 3.
Mhm.
I just want to talk a bit about our friendship and how we all kind of became friends and what started that, and
Yeah.
and go from there.
Some of my favorite memories.
I agree. So this is going to be a little wholesome. We're going to get a little wholesome on this episode.
Let's do it.
Because we've all had, I think I've had a rough couple of days. So I want to sit down with my friends and talk about some nice stuff, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll jump in from a informational standpoint for the viewers. The way that we met is I met Jeremiah through working at a department store, a hardware store that we will name John's Hammers and Stuff. And so John's Hammers and Stuff,
Love it.
we
The
were working
classic.
there.
Yeah.
You didn't want to go with John's Hammers and Hardware?
I legitimately
It was-
didn't cross my mind.
It was just like there.
No, it
you
was.
said you even said hardware.
It was
store.
right under my nose. I
Yeah.
did. I did
Yeah.
say hardware store.
Yep.
No,
Okay,
it's
John's
it's
Hammers and Stuff.
Hammers and Stuff. We were
Yeah.
working there.
Is it too late for John's hardwood specialty in carpentry?
It's never too late for John's Hardwood.
Nope. All right.
The later the better.
John's Hardwood.
We're at Jarn's Hardwood,
Yep.
and
Isn't that the name on the Declaration of Independence?
Jarn.
Sure. I'd believe that.
Jarn's Hardwood. Anyway,
Yep.
I had started there, and there was a fabled man, who talked about amidst
the one of legend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
talked about amidst the ranks of
He really was.
the John's Hardwood store employees.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you needed anything done, like that mattered. You know what I mean? Like you'd be
Right.
like, "Oh, someone wants 64 bags of fucking mulch, and they're all on a shelf that's 12 feet in the air." They'd be like, "Oh, well, just call Jeremiah." And
Yep.
every time,
Called
I
a
shook a
bullfrog.
little in my boots. Every time. I'm serious. I got nervous. I was like, "What, Jeremiah?" And I will say, and this is meant with the most love and respect that I can say, but you appear and act a lot older than you are. Like, you don't look like an old man, but like you had a full, like, lush beard, and you're like only a couple years older than me, aren't you?
Yes.
Give or take.
Yeah. So like, I thought that you were just this mystical, middle-aged savant. You know what I mean? Which you were a mystical savant, but you were just a couple years older than me, which blew my mind when I found it out.
A
But
savant of John's Hardwood.
John's Hardwood, he was killing it over there with
Yeah.
his castle. And so every time someone would be like, "Hey, you need this done." Sorry, that was a big one. Anytime someone would be like, "Hey, you need, this done, go get Jeremiah," it would freak me out a little bit. And so eventually, I had needed your help like once or twice, and I caught you at a time where you weren't extremely busy, and I think I attempted to joke around with you or something, but like we had a conversation that was like fine. You know what I mean? It was like normal coworker conversation, and I think you probably thought that I was like 16 at the time, like every other kid in my department.
Correct.
And so I was like, cool, like that's whatever. Well, then, fast forward a little bit, on the sideline, my now fiance, who I call my wife, but my wife, Emily, had a friend named Claudia, which I had worked with for, at that point, like going on 2 years in different, various locations. But essentially, we all were working at
John's Hardwood.
and I had been talking to
Back
Emily.
up. At John's Hardwood.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We were all working at the John's Hardwood.
We'd all been working at John's Hardwood store.
Yeah.
It's like a hardware store, but it's a hardwood store.
Yeah.
Is what I'm kind of going with here.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were all working at John's. I had been talking in the spare time about how I was interested in getting into D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and but I didn't have anybody to play with because I was a lonely boy. And Claudia did some talking around and came up to me in the break room and was like, "Hey, there's some guys that play D&D here. They have like a group and they play on the weekends, and like we should ask if we could join. Like, I want to play, you want to play, we should try to play it." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So she ends up I don't know who she talked to out of the group initially. I think it might have been Austin. But anyway, then Austin, within the next couple of days, our friend Austin approached me in the break room of John's Hardwood store and said, "Hey man, I heard you wanted to play D&D. Like, you can join my campaign. Here's who all plays." It's my buddy Brad, who also worked there. Shout out to him. I don't know if he'll ever hear this, but
I'll tell him to subscribe.
yeah, there
I
you
see
go.
him every once in a while.
Loved Brad. He was a great guy. He was a joy to work with, I'll tell you that much. But and he was like, "It's my buddy Brad, my buddy Derek, who worked, I think at the time you worked at the neighboring hardware store, which was literally right next to the other hardware store. It's kind of a hardware store, right?
Yeah.
We'll call
it that.
We'll call that Jimmy's corn and crabs. So you were working at Jimmy's Corn and Crabs.
Yep.
Jimmy's Corn and Crabs.
Corn and Crabs.
The
It's
renowned hardware store.
It's a very
It's-
niche hardware
exactly.
store, but they do great business.
They don't.
No,
They don't. But it is what it is.
But you were working there,
I was working there.
so
I had just left John's Hardwood. I think
you can't leave John's Hardwood.
I left John's Hardwood.
We all
How'd you
did.
pry yourself away? We all
I
did, yeah. You got out of
I
there.
was not prioritized the way I felt I needed to be. So I said goodbye. And then the next year and a half of my life was spent at Johnny's Corn and Crabs.
Yeah.
And I've blocked almost all of that out. So
Yeah,
it was
Your
traumatic
brain does that.
experience.
Your brain does that. I've
Yeah.
blocked out a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But he said it was my friend Derek working at the Johnny's Corn and Crabs.
Yep.
Never met him. I had never met him, obviously, before in my life. And then he said, "And Jeremiah." And I was like, oh my God.
Quivered in your boots.
I'm telling you, I don't know why I was so intimidated by you, but I was so intimidated by you. But like, it was in a way that's like, I want this person to like me. You know what I mean? Like, not like, I don't know. It sounds weird, but it's like, I don't want to be like a buffoon.
Being liked by Jeremiah is special.
It is. It's a special achievement. You know, the minute that I can notice that he got a buzz cut and like we're playing D&D and I walk up behind him and rustle my little fingers through his buzz cut and he doesn't stand up and punch me in the face, I know I've gotten somewhere.
Yeah,
you know
you've
what
arrived.
I mean? Right. But he was like, yeah, Jeremiah plays. And I was like, oh, this could be fun. I want to make some friends. This Jeremiah guy is in on this Johnny's wood and stuff. So if I want to do good here, he can, you know, potentially help me out there. I did not decide that I wanted to do very good there because that place sucked. And I was like, and I want to play D&D. You know?
Apologies to any John's hardwood stores that exist in reality.
Yeah.
We're not truly talking about you.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. If there is a John's hardwood store, I did not work there. I'm using it as a name for another place, and I'm sure your business is stellar.
Yeah, exactly. This is not a smear campaign.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I just thought it would be good to I don't want anybody listening to be
John.
like, you have some disgruntled employees talking about
have you heard
your
about
hardwood.
This podcast? They're talking shit about your store.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I just a little disclaimer.
Yeah.
Nor Johnny's Corn and Crab.
That also
placeholder.
I
I never worked there if you exist in reality. I'm sure your corn and crab was of the highest order.
Where he actually worked was Johnny's Porn and Crab, which is a whole different store. And we don't talk about that one.
Still no.
But anyway.
God, no.
Absolutely not.
We ended up joining the D&D campaign, and I remember specifically the reason I wanted to bring this up was the first session, right?
I do not think I was a part of that one.
No, you were not. I had been given the party layout, and I was told who everyone was and what they were playing. And Austin was like, so what do you want to play? And so I made a character. And I think I spent over the course of a week, probably like, I don't know, 5 hours hammering out this character, making sure that it was like what I wanted to go with. Made my character. Night of the first session rolls up. And Claudia, who is my ride to the first session, comes to my house. We're hanging out for a minute beforehand. And she's like, yeah, did you make your character? And I was like, yeah, I got my character sheet done. Like, I watched a whole video on how to fill that out. Like, cause I had no idea how to do it. You know what I mean? I had just known that D&D was a thing, and that was what. So I taught myself how to make the character sheet and all this stuff. And she was like, oh, cool, yeah. I didn't make my character yet. And I was like, oh, nice. So we made her character, which she still plays to this day, in like 20 minutes before.
For frame of reference, this event was 3 years ago.
Yeah, a character that she's been playing off and on for 3 years was made. We made it in 20 minutes in my bedroom at my parents' house.
It's a classic Claudia.
Emily.
Claudia move.
Yeah, Emily was just kind of chilling. But anyway, we started playing D&D, and it was a really good time. And since then, it's only gone up.
The rest is history.
We've been playing D&D for a good, I think you just said about 3 years now.
The day that we first played was March 5th, 2020. Right before the event that must not be named. And we played for a little bit, and then we took a break because we thought it was going, like, literally right off the bat. We took a break, and because we thought it was going to pass. And it did not pass. It did not pass. It was stopped by Gandalf. regular bull rug of a situation. I've never
Yeah.
even seen Lord of the Rings, so I hope I got
What?
those references right. But
You shouldn't say that on the air.
it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
you
fine.
really shouldn't have
They'll
said
destroy
that.
you.
It's okay. They
That's
can come
such
at
a-
me.
That I didn't even know that.
I have a Harry Potter tattoo, so it
Oh my
redeems
gosh.
myself somewhat.
I
Just
don't
different
know.
lores.
I don't know if you should
But
have said that one either.
I got my references
You
right.
see, Dungeons and Dragons exists
Yes.
because of Tolkien.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's not entirely true.
it is
It is
entirely.
It's
entirely
not.
true.
It's
It
not
is.
because before Tolkien wrote those books, there was an old school, very, very, very old school, the very first tabletop RPG game that was a war game. And then they released an amendment that was fantasy based.
Right.
Yes.
But the entirety of the first edition of D&D
Okay.
was based off
I
of
mean,
the
that.
halflings were
mean-
literally hobbits.
yes.
They were.
Were they called
literally
hobbits in 1E?
They were called halflings for
legal
know,
reasons.
Oh,
legal reasons.
all right.
But they had
but-
hairy feet.
The entirety of it was ripped from Lord of the Rings and
Fair
The
enough.
Hobbit
Yeah.
Fair
because
enough. Well, maybe
the
they
guys
just didn't
that he was
play
playing
the game
with-
that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah,
was that Gygax?
watch Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings.
Yeah.
the guys he
Gygax.
played with like Tolkien.
Oh, of
so
course.
that's why
Yeah.
the game was centered around it.
Right.
I mean, who doesn't like Tolkien besides Derek? Apparently,
Besides-
It's not that I
Derek.
don't like him. I've never
No,
seen it. I've never
you
read
said
it.
you said I hate Tolkien.
That is
I've
not what
never
I
watched
said.
Lord of the Rings. 'cause
I
it sucks.
even got the reference right.
You even said Peter Jackson's a little schmuck. I heard you say that.
Peter, like the I'm
The-
thinking
the
Steven
director.
Jackson.
Peter Jackson.
I have every extended cut of The Hobbit
I heard you.
and Lord of the Rings.
So like
I saw you wince
so like
a little bit.
circumcision.
correct.
I saw you wince a little bit when I said Peter Jackson is a schmuck. I saw you do a little.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
okay.
Is he did he direct The
Lord of
Hobbit?
the- Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did he direct The Hobbit? I know he did Lord of the Rings, and they're astounding. I don't know if he did The Hobbit.
I
Hobbit's
don't
not as
remember.
good though.
I'm going to be honest. I only got The Hobbit because I wanted to look at Smog.
Yeah.
That's my entire
And Benedict
motivation.
Cumberbatch did a great
Sweet,
job.
sweet dragon.
Hey,
Daddy.
why are we talking about Lord of the Rings? We're not talking about
Because you
Lord of
guys
the Rings.
hopped
We're talking about Dungeons
on
and
my dick
Dragons.
about it.
We're talking about Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons.
So 3 years ago, the thing hit. We took a couple months off, I believe, and then we were like, "This isn't going anywhere, and we want to play."
Yeah.
So then we got back together and we started playing, and then literally within a few handful of sessions after that is when you and Claudia joined.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I missed the first one because at Johnny's Corn and Crabs, I had to work like 10 o'clock, if not a little bit later.
Yeah.
So it was rough sometimes.
Austin was the DM
Yep.
of that first session. Jeremiah was playing. I think you obviously play the same character throughout the entire session, but your character is very special in a way that you have multiple personalities. And so I believe that your personality at that moment was the Wandering Fool in the first session. So,
Sounds right.
mind you, my introduction to D&D is one of Jeremiah's wackiest characters with one of his best voices, in my opinion. He does a lot of voices, but that's one of my favorites. And I did one of my favorite things that I think I've done still to this day, because we started on a ship. You guys were already on a ship going somewhere, and you were attacked by like a pirate ship, and me and Claudia were prisoners on said pirate ship. And I managed to get us out of the brig and run to the deck of this pirate ship. And as they were like realizing that like we just ran out of the bottom of the ship, and they're like, "Who the hell are you?" I ran and jumped from the deck of the ship that I was on to your guys' ship as you guys were like passing by each other to like exchange cannon fire, and like grabbed onto some netting and like managed to climb onto the boat. And it was all rolls that were pretty good.
Hell yeah.
And it was it was a really good time, and that's like one of my favorite D&D memories. But since then, we've played exuberant amounts of D&D.
Yep.
But I wanted to talk about specifically your guys' history with D&D, because you know my history with D&D. I kind of just said it. And also, I mean, like, before we started playing, I wasn't active in the D&D scene. I was reading into the community, and like I had read portions of the rule books, and like, you know what I mean? I had an interest in it, but I wasn't actively in the community. I know that you guys have been playing for longer than I have, and I wanted to hear, you know, your guys' D&D origins. What got you guys into playing, and what keeps you playing?
Well, Jeremiah caps us all.
So, D&D.
The
It's a
Dungeons
game.
and the Dragons.
I've played it for over a decade now. Starting in 3.5 or 3. I can't remember. It was a mix between the two at that time. I think 3.5 was just starting to come out.
Gotcha.
And it was super fun. And that got me into it. And then 4 came out, and I hated it with every fiber of my
I think
being.
everyone did.
That was the general consensus of 4,
Yeah.
right? People did not
Some
like
parts
4.
of it are good. Other parts of it, not so good. If I wanted to play math for 12 hours, I would play 4.
I get a degree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then 5 came out, and I was like, oh, D&D's good again. And I came back.
Boom, 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 boom.
But,
Hang on, sorry, 1 second. What's this jingle you're doing today? I've never heard this before from you. I like
That
it.
was an intro to a song, I think. It was. I just don't remember what song.
It's a weird-
They're spooky. They're all together kooky.
The Addams Family.
Got it.
Can we get...
You
Cut.
probably can't post that.
I'll cut that.
I feel like that's copyrighted
Yeah.
for sure.
Definitely.
Low key, I told Austin, because Austin really wanted to play, that the only way I would play is if he DM'd. Because I've always had to DM. From the beginning of my D&D time.
To be fair, I've only played with a couple DMs. And I will say, sitting with 2 of the DMs that I played, Derek, you're killing it with armor class.
Yeah.
But
The other
you are the
session, not
best
so
DM
much.
I've ever had. I will say. You are extremely good at...
Austin, cover your ears.
Austin, you're... listen, if you... I'm sure he's listening. Him and Brandon listen. And I love you guys
Brandy.
to death. Austin, you're a great DM. But even
He
Austin will
knows.
admit...
He knows.
Jeremiah, you have a specific way of like intertwining a story that's so captivating. It's insane. So while I totally feel for you being a forever DM sucking, because that has to suck, I will say the only reason that you're a forever DM is because you're so fucking good at it.
He knows. He
That's
knows.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
my take on
Thank
it.
you so much. Thank you. I feel touched.
I will say, for those of you listening, I took one bout at DMing within our group, and we were playing a different system. We were playing Kids on Bikes, and
That was not your fault.
it did not go great.
That was
The prep work, it was honestly set up beautifully.
It
but
was.
It just
And
wasn't.
you
It
put a
just
lot of work
wasn't
into
our
that.
game. It just
And
wasn't our game.
Here's the thing. Here's my take on Kids on Bikes. Because Jeremiah was also part of Kids on Bikes.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, great idea for a module. I think that's like Stranger Things
Yeah.
inspired.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it's inspired by the 80s. It's a system built on
Right.
that whole genre.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And you put a lot of work into your story that you wanted to tell through that. And it was really good.
It just wasn't for us.
What fell apart was when we created our characters. I think we all should have sat down and had like a session 0 in a way that like we're gonna actually sit and make our characters right now with each other,
Yeah.
instead of we all kind of separated, and Jeremiah and Claudia, because you guys are together, an item, as some would say.
Going
Yes.
steady.
A
Going
legendary
steady.
item.
Yeah, a legendary item. You guys had made your characters together, and me and Austin, through texting, made our characters together. And so me and Austin's character already had a dynamic. You and Claudia's character already had a whole separate and totally different dynamic. And then we had another character who...
2 more.
Who was that?
We had Brittany and Reed.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about Reed. He was
Yeah.
there for like 2 sessions. Anyway, they made their characters, but also did not make a character dynamic with each other. So none of our characters had any sort of reason really to interact with each other. I felt had we sat down and made our characters all together, it would have
maybe.
been a more cohesive party, and we would have gotten through.
I'm
that
okay
a lot
with
easier,
accepting that it just wasn't our game.
which is fair.
Yeah.
But
It has that system and systems like it have a lot of room for interpretation, like more so than D&D.
right,
And it's a lot less rigid, which doesn't hold you to like a gaming standard.
gotcha.
So I think, I don't know, it is what it is. But with this armor class, the podcast that will be coming out or already has come out by the time you hear this,
So by my schedule, if my schedule is aligning with yours, it has come out at least 1 to 2 episodes.
go check it out.
Definitely go check it out. I don't know if my ad that we have discussed and are working on has been in Armor Class yet, but if you're coming from Armor Class, after hearing this ad, let me know in the comments for sure.
What's up?
We're super pumped about this show. Derek has put a lot of work into it. He's done a really
beautiful.
good job.
Beautiful.
Jeremiah has made one of my favorite characters I think ever.
Same.
He's a catch.
Emily, my wife. Sorry.
You disgust
She
me.
gives you acid reflux.
She does.
No, I'm just
No.
kidding.
Emily, my wife, this is not her first time playing D&D per se, but this is her first like real campaign,
Yeah.
which is very interesting. She's doing a great job. I like her character a lot too. I think we all have a really solid thing going, and so definitely tune in for that.
Yeah. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out now.
for sure.
Well, after this episode.
Yeah. Or, what you should do is pause this episode, hit the pause button, go to the link in the description, Armor Class, open that, and then let it like play the first like couple seconds, pause it, go back to this episode, and then resume it, and we'll finish it, and then we'll finish our time together that you've already promised to me. And then once this is over, you go back to the other tab and you listen to Armor Class.
Exactly.
And
And
then
while
you
you're in
come
there listening
back.
those couple seconds, hit the follow.
Yeah, if you do it, definitely hit follow on both. But then after you listen to Armor Class, you come back here again, and you leave
So
a comment,
convoluted.
and you say, Armor Class was great. I loved it. Really looking forward to where that goes.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, I will be disappointed.
But if you do that, Bash will do a special shout out for whoever comments on Uncommon Collin about it.
If
Ooh.
if I have Jeremiah's word right now,
Ooh.
yeah, if you comment,
It's got to be the first
Hey.
one.
hey, Armor
Number
Class
one.
is great. Really looking forward to it. We will do a special Bash shout out here on Armor
Ba-da-boo-boo.
Class.
Oh, nice.
Or, I mean, here on Uncommon Nonsense.
Yeah.
We'll have Bash shout you out himself.
It'll be fun.
Wonderful.
I believe in you.
Yeah,
I believe in you, listeners.
get to it.
You got it.
So, D&D and Armor Class. For those who haven't seen Armor Class yet, what are you doing? Besides the thing that I told you to do.
Right.
But I'll give you a little preempt to what you have planned for after this episode. Damn. It's Sprite, man. It's Sprite.
Yeah, Sprite does that.
So wet.
It's so good.
It's so wet.
Armor Class,
Mm-hmm.
run and made by Derek here, is the D&D podcast, where we being me and Jeremiah and Austin from last episode and my wife, Emily, take the role of level 1. Well, we were like commoners before, but we were like level-less adventure wannabes that have been accepted into Armor Class School of
Martial
and
and
magical arts. Yeah. So it's like an adventuring school.
Yeah.
It's like a Hogwarts but in D&D.
Yes.
And we got our letters and we went right to the school. And I tell you what, we just got to the school, and I'm already like enthralled into the story of it. I'm so excited. I think that our characters for this are great. Bash, Jeremiah's character, and Ren, which is my character, Renwin Locke, have like an intrinsic friendship, which was
We
I
just
don't
had
know if
simultaneous
anyone
strokes.
caught that, but I think there was an error in Collin, not the audio recording, but in Collin himself. I got to reboot him. Hold on.
Host.exe has stopped functioning.
I'll try to find like the dial-up internet where it's like ding, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have like an intrinsic friendship that was majorly your doing, I believe. Because
It's by design. Yes. I set it up from the beginning.
Yeah. And I didn't know that was going to happen, and then it did happen, and it's pretty good. I think that dynamic is going to do well in the show. I think that
everybody's doing a really great job.
Yeah. I agree. I think that we all have a good energy that we bounce off of each other in different ways. But what really went into making that? I know that you spent a lot of time.
God.
It was a lot. I know a lot of sweat and tears went into making that, but
too much.
I know that
more than he ever needed to do, but he did it anyway because he did
it for us, man, for the people.
Yeah, it's honestly, if I not to toot my own horn, it's honestly really good, but the amount of work that has gone into it has been excessive. Like, custom creating over 300 characters, to be referenced when necessary. And the reason I did that is because if anybody wants to play, any listeners wants to play in this system, they'll be able to go and download some of the parties. They'll be able to download the teachers. They'll be able to download the course assignments.
That's awesome.
All that jazz.
From our Patreon.
Yeah, from our Patreon page. All that will be accessible from there. And then I'm doing the work, so if anybody else wants to play in the World of Armor class, then all of that is available to them at the drop of a hat, which is my goal. But that is the reason why it's been so much work, and it's not like there's a lot of extra stuff that I still need to do, but the general layout, the characters, for us, the story is all done. Obviously, if you're playing, you'd probably play with your own story.
Right.
But for us, it's all mapped out. And I have been working. We came up with the original concept for Armor Class about a year ago. I just got like a reminder somehow, which is kind of like shocking. I can't believe it's already been a year.
Well, I remember it's been a while because I remember a long time ago sitting at Derek's table and him being like, I think that we should start a podcast and like get microphones.
We spent like 20 minutes brainstorming for something clever and that hasn't been done.
The talk was mostly like, would we be comfortable with putting it out on the internet? Like us our playing of D&D and stuff. And then from that whole, it was really your concept of let's make a D&D podcast. I was like, what if I did a show where we also, had the opportunity to talk just about whatever.
And then I correlated your name with Thomas Paine.
Yeah.
Common sense. And thus it was born.
And here we are. And now we have two beautiful, beautiful projects spiraling out of it. And it's been a great time. We haven't recorded too much of it, but it's been a great time, the recordings that we have done.
We've got like 12 episodes worth.
Yeah. It's a good time. Do you know about how long the episodes you're aiming for?
Like in length of episode? It's going to vary a little bit. I think the shortest one we have so far is roughly around 35 to 40 minutes.
Gotcha.
And then ranging up to about an hour 15. I think the last one re-recorded is going to be closer to like 2 hours.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Jeremiah, how do you feel about being on a D&D podcast? I know that you're a big listener of D&D podcasts.
I am indeed. There's quite a few of them that I've enjoyed.
I've listened to like one or two of them, and I enjoy them, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, so you'd think I'd listen to more. But every time I listen to a D&D podcast, it just makes me want to play D&D, and then I can't. So I'm like,
It has that effect.
Yeah.
It does. But that helps inspire you for later.
Right.
If you can save it in your little noggin.
Yeah.
I had originally denied both of you when you asked me to do podcast things.
Correct.
Partially because I'm a hermit, and I have no interest in interacting in any social experience whatsoever.
Which makes
is
the
why
podcast a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Which is why I can
what
just be a
better?
voice in the ether.
Yes.
And if you want to complain to somebody, then it's going to be Collin or Austin or Derek.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll be in our comment sections and not in your ears.
You can slap them, and then they can transfer the slap to me.
Yeah. I'll just take it.
I wouldn't transfer it. Yeah, I would
I'll
just take
accept it.
It's
at this
fine.
point.
I didn't say it would go well for either one of you.
What if
but
what if I
do it.
redirect it? What if I redirect the slap to your ass?
Ooh.
Well, now we're getting shameful again.
Because I might do that.
It's come full circle. Okay.
It's come full circle.
Coming full circle.
It's
But,
talent.
the podcast gig,
I think
It's
that's
pretty fun.
That'll probably be the title of this episode, Coming Full Circle.
Come full circle.
we'll just keep
It
doing
is fun.
roundabouts.
I have years now, probably a decade, actually over a decade's worth of audio experience. So it comes largely natural to me now. But I'm a certified audio engineer, so this is like, I've been doing this for a while. So knowing how to do this, barring the amount of work that it is just second nature for me at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I still have to psych myself up to record. I still have to be like, oh, I have to host now.
Right.
But then once I get in the flow of it, it's
It's just a conversation
yeah.
or a character, whatever.
Whatever you want to call it. I mean,
So,
It's a whatchamacallit.
Jeremiah, what's your favorite and least favorite part about participating in podcasts?
that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm
I
curious.
should take notes.
Favorite part would certainly be the characters
Okay.
and the interesting topics.
Yes. Yeah.
I do like to rant sometimes.
Yeah. You are a master of conversation.
I like science. I like fantasy. I like it when they do things together.
Mm-hmm.
like that DIY solar panel.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to burn my house down with
Right.
a makeshift solar panel made of CDs and copper
Copper
wire
wire.
wrapped around them
In
and
epoxy.
dipped in epoxy.
There you go.
And if you know what that is and you've done it, hit us up in the comments.
Yeah,
Because I want to know if that thing actually works.
I do too. It's probably something I will try eventually.
It's definitely
What are
going to
you
start a
talking
forest
about?
fire. Don't
Okay,
worry about it.
yeah.
We'll get into it in another
I'm lost.
episode.
This is my show, and I'm lost.
Right. So a brief showdown. I was scrolling on Facebook and I saw a video of somebody building a DIY solar panel using CDs and copper wire. And according to the array that they laid out, it put off 220 volts, which is a standard solar panel.
What the hell?
Yeah, and which would
How
mean
many
you can
CDs?
24.
What?
Yeah, so like a trip to Goodwill.
Yep.
Good lord.
Yeah, which means if it does work,
You
they're
could make a solar panel for less than $50.
yeah
Yeah.
Which is, well,
ridiculous.
if you've looked into putting solar panels on your house,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It would if it truly works, it would revolutionize everything. You
Right.
could literally do it with the trip to Goodwill. It's crazy. But electricity is dangerous for all of you listening. And if it truly puts off 220 volts, that's your standard electrical current of a home, which will electrocute and kill you. Therefore, being careful. At least the way that's how I understand electricity.
For
Yeah,
sure.
we're not recommending
No.
that you do this.
Right.
But if you happen to do it, let us know.
Let us
how
know.
it goes.
It's honestly crazy.
It
It
might
might
kill
be
you,
fantasy.
though. Might kill you.
It's it set a small engine like on Adderall. Like it was just like according to the video. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you know what won't kill you?
D&D. Well, not in real life.
Not in real life. But you know what? D&D won't kill you. But you know what also
Roxall.
won't kill you?
What?
I'm switching this up. I'm changing the topic
Segue.
here. Segue.
Yeah.
Art.
Art.
Art won't kill you. Depends
People
on how
have
you
died
do
for
it.
art, but
If you're smart about it, it won't kill you.
yeah, if a statue falls on you, you're probably out of luck.
Yeah.
There's a substantial amount of people that have died for art.
Yes.
Well, you know what art
Art could
specifically
kill you.
won't kill you?
It won't electrocute you
Is
in
the
most
art
cases.
that's on the channel right now, which
Yeah.
was made by Jeremiah.
True that.
I shouted it out a couple episodes ago. I think it went up. I've been using it since episode 6, so it's been up for a while. But I just wanted to get wanted to ask you a little bit about how that went. How was making a visage of myself?
It's not my typical style of thing to do, but I knocked it out and then sent it to you. You played with it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it turned out pretty well.
I am a subscriber, so sometimes I see my art pop up,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
kind of cool. And then I see it's Collin, and I'm like, oh yeah, hey buddy, what are you
Hey.
doing up there?
Play.
I will say, yeah, and well, you can't like it already because you already liked it before, so you can't like it again.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm definitely liking videos. I would
Yeah.
never not like
no,
videos.
you wouldn't do that.
You couldn't prove
You
otherwise.
like every upload that comes
I will
out.
watch them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna hit that button because it's usually on my TV.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to do on the TV. It's
It's
hard to
annoying.
even get to like the description on the TV.
It is sometimes.
It's
Depends
flat.
on the TV.
Yeah. But anyway, the reason I brought up the art and one thing I've heard, and I wanted to get your opinion on this on the mic. That's why I haven't said it yet. I love the art. I think it's really, really great. Emily, who also loves the art and thinks it's really, really great, did also point out that I think it's because of the hat and the glasses, I do have a striking resemblance to Dale Gribble.
I have
Yes,
no idea who
from
that is.
Yes,
King
you
of
do.
the Hill. You ever watch King of the Hill?
Yeah.
It's the four guys that stand in the alley and
Yeah.
drink beer. He's the one with the orange hat and glasses. He's like
He's
a
like,
conspiracy
"Dale."
theorist.
All right.
And
Yeah.
he smokes cigarettes and he's like,
Yeah.
They're-
Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
they're taking our cigarette butts and putting them in the corn dogs at the fair. Like, that's like his whole...
God.
Like,
Sounds
character.
terrible.
I think it's mainly because I made the executive decision after attempting 8 different times to draw your eyes in the art style I was
Yeah.
doing to just have none.
To just have
So
the-
now you just have cool shades.
And they're cool. It looks cool. But she is correct, I think. It does
Yeah,
share
Dale's
striking...
Dale's a pretty cool
I like
character.
Dale Gribble. Pocket Sand,
You
He's
should
a great father.
You should see if you can do a true impression of him and just like have an episode of just you and
Just Dale Gribble.
yeah,
That'd be a fun episode.
that would be a fun episode.
I don't even know if I can do
I don't
an
know if
impression of
we were
Dale.
allowed to do that.
I don't know. On the topic of King of the Hill, I sent a message at work to a coworker the other day, and I forgot the T in thank you, and I said thank you, or I said hank you, sir,
Thank you.
and then I caught it, and I sent a follow up message that said propane and propane accessories, and he was
Right.
like, I thought you were just being random, but
Yeah.
now I get the joke.
Now I get
So
it.
yeah, I do like King
Random
of the Hill.
XD.
Yeah,
King of the Hill is a good show.
it is.
Boomhauer is great. I think my favorite episode of King of the Hill is the one where everyone talks like Boomhauer except for him, because it's like his recollection of what happened. Anyway, I brought up art because Jeremiah, as always, doing art.
Mm-hmm.
Your art, as should be by the time this episode goes up, is available to people if they would like to order and purchase.
It is.
oakandthornartistry.com. I'll also have a link for that.
Thanks
In
to
the-
Derek. I've broken
Awesome.
down and I've put my art out for the masses.
Mm.
We'll see what happens.
Are you?
It's mainly acrylic and paintings right now. I do a lot of other things, but I don't feel like shipping them to any of you. If you want to come buy them, you can come find me.
Ooh,
The hunt is on.
right?
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah, I'm excited to
do.
see you.
I've done so many different mediums of art that I've lost track.
Yeah.
But my favorites by far are on canvas, pottery, and with sculptures.
There you go. Well, heck yeah.
I got myself a little print of a Jeremiah original that I'm
Yeah,
in the process of building a frame for. It's very big and it's very beautiful.
It's very nice.
It is very nice.
How'd old Bessie turn out for you? My jig.
I have not used it yet.
Oh.
Yes.
I got a special
busy
jig
man.
that makes frames.
Yeah.
You guys
Blended
jigging?
Yeah, special jig.
Yeah.
Is there jigging
It
over here?
clamps it in a perfect right angle.
It makes perfect right angles, and I'm very thankful that Jeremiah let me borrow it so that I can join the corners of my frame.
Join those corners,
Absolutely.
I mean, I would argue that's one of the most important parts of a frame.
Yeah, you should.
It's kind of all corners if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
I
you really
guess.
break it down.
If
You really
you
break it
down to its
down
bare essentials,
into
it's all
vertices.
corners.
Yeah.
Oops, all corners.
Yep.
And this has been Oops, all uncommon nonsense with
Yes.
Collin Payne. I appreciate you guys tuning in. How about a little common sense? I don't think I did it on the last episode.
Yeah.
I try to do it every episode. Sometimes I forget. Sue me. But how about a little common sense? Make sure your corners are joined together properly.
Don't forget to wipe.
What?
What?
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in. If you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, you can hit that fancy little subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or follow us on Spotify at Uncommon Nonsense Podcast. Or no, I'm sorry. On Spotify, it's Uncommon Nonsense with Collin Payne. But you can follow me on every other social at Uncommon Collin. We upload every other Thursday. So we'll see you next time. And thank you for tuning in.
Bye, guys. See you next time.
Now they get to hear us sing.
Do do do.
And so
Get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey,
what's
going on?
All right, sorry.
That's the outro.
Thank you guys for watching.